Welcome to Monday Night Comics. Welcome to Comics with Dan. I've hit several weeks in a row at this point, which is just like a personal achievement for me because it's tough to find time. So, but I have a decent sized week this week, and what's cool about this week is that while I still have a fair share of like DC books, I have more non Big Two books than I normally do, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to get started with that, and let's pull that up. Share screen. Here is my League of Comic Geeks. Okay, so I had originally put Batman #7 on this list, thinking that I would have time to read it before this stream, and I did not, which is fine. I had started to read it, but I did not get very far into it. You can see in the preview here, which we looked at last week as well, that obviously the Joker's back. This is a very cool panel. Yeah, so it's I mean, people complain about the Joker showing up, and I think it can be fair sometimes, but in reality, you know, he's one of the most popular villains out there, right? So why is this not looking right? There we go. Okay. Yeah, so he's one of the biggest villains that DC has, if not the biggest. So it only makes sense that they're going to bring him back. I don't think it makes like financial sense for them to just bench him for a long time. Plus, it's always cool to see the different takes that different writers have. So like Matt Fraction will be doing it this time, and like I didn't hate Chip Zdarsky's Joker. I didn't love the Joker Year One stuff. I don't need a Joker origin, but apart from that, I thought that he had like a pretty good voice for the character. But yeah, so we'll see how this one goes. But it's it should be pretty good. Matt Fraction's Batman has been pretty good so far. You know, no complaints there. So next one here, we have DCKO #5. So the end of this event. I really, really loved this event. To be honest, the very last issue of this, it was still good, but it got a little too cosmic, and I don't want to say like nonsensical, but to be honest, I had some trouble making heads or tails of it. It was interesting to see the way that they did things. What I'm probably most interested about coming out of this is the reaction of Lex Luthor, because essentially what happens in this is Lex Luthor wins the tournament, and then Superman kind of just comes in out of nowhere and takes his place. And that's going to be that's going to rub Lex Luthor the wrong way. I think that what's weird is that Lex Luthor then shows up on the cover of the next Justice League Unlimited series, or arc rather. So to me, I would think that Lex Luthor getting ousted by Superman, you know, Lex Luthor proves that he's the greatest and the most powerful. Superman comes in after losing and still gets to be King Omega. Like, I would think that Lex Luthor would just absolutely lose it, right? And that our next event or next big run is going to be Lex Luthor versus everybody, right? It does not appear that that's going to happen, but I guess we'll wait and see. But like, I guess it wasn't as good of an ending as the rest of the event was, but I don't think it was bad. I do feel like I don't really know what to expect after this. Like the end of this kind of leads up to DC Next Level, which is I've talked about that before on my channel. I have and actually I can even put a link to my I can put a link to my video about DC Next Level in the chat here. Let's take a look at that. But while I don't feel like they're really I don't know how to save this. Okay. So I'll view on YouTube. There we go. That was Bob. Okay. I don't know that I understand where what the concrete kind of target is for Next Level. It seems like more of a publishing initiative than a storyline or a or like an event or anything like that. So I find it interesting that they kind of ended it with like Next Level, and like it shows like the characters from the DC Next Level books. And before this, I was kind of thinking like, well, with the state that everything's in and Superman not showing up in his own book for a little bit, that maybe we're going to get something where the main heroes are gone and these other ones have to kind of step in. All the Next Level books though seem isolated. They don't seem like they're going to be connected at all to the overarching story. So that's why I was a little confused to see Next Level reference at the end here, because I guess I don't see how that shows us what's coming up for DC, other than these isolated stories, which look good, to be fair. But yeah, I'm not sure. I guess we'll see how it goes. But overall, as an event, like DCKO is one of the better events that I've read, like as it's being published. So, and I read a decent amount of this event, right? So there's 42 issues. I read 27 of them. Apparently I own 29 of them. How did that happen? Which ones did I miss? Oh, I read. Oh, I didn't read Justice League Unlimited. I did read Superman. We're gonna give that 4 stars. Some live reviewing here. Yeah, so I think it'll make a nice collected edition. It could be a good one. So next we have here is the Sonic the Hedgehog Sonic Racing Cross Worlds tie-in comic. I did not love this. It seemed a lot like it seemed like it was just a lot of let's cram as much stuff from the game into this as we can. Which, I mean, it's like a promotional comic for it, right? But to pay $5 for what is essentially an advertisement for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds when I already have the game is a little ridiculous. So, I mean, my kids liked it, right? So I can't complain too much. But like, if you're looking to get this, I wouldn't bother personally. So what's interesting is that they're actually going to include it in the Sonic trades, which is funny. So all right. And then I also, from the library, got this second volume of Action Comics Superman Superstars, and it was really good. The John Ridley story, the John Ridley story was really good, I should say. And I don't have anything against G. Willow Wilson in general. The stuff of hers that I've read a little bit of her Poison Ivy, and that was pretty good. I don't know what else of hers. I don't know what else of hers I've read. But the John Ridley story was really good, and the G. Willow Wilson story was not as great. The John Ridley story was this force majeure part 1, 2, and 3, and essentially had to do with the kind of the difficulty of having like these being a metahuman and like staying straight, right? And obviously like in the real world you don't have that same temptation to have all this power and do wrong with it in the same way. But it obviously it definitely relates to a like the temptation to do things that are wrong because they're like right in front of you and you can, right? And so I thought Ridley did a really good job of kind of laying that out and relating to it. But the second part with by G. Willow Wilson was just like a really weird like environmental story. I truthfully I just wasn't a fan of it. So overall, like I liked the Ridley story enough that I gave the book 4 stars, but it probably would have been like 4.5 if it hadn't been for the lower quality of the second half of the story, or the second story. So on my pull list this week, and let me make sure because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coming up this week. Okay, so we'll start, even though I have this pegged or labeled as big week for small publishers. We'll start with Absolute Batman number 18. I thought that issue 17 was pretty solid. I think Absolute Poison Ivy, I almost feel like maybe she's just not different enough from regular Poison Ivy. But she does feel to me a little bit like a Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy kind of hybrid, because she's a scientist looking for a cure for like her mother's illness, and basically like the financial side of science, which is something that Mr. Freeze's backstory covers extensively. Is that, like, he's making progress, he's doing good, but it's not going to make them money, or they don't want to fund him or whatever, and so it's not something that they're going to pay for, and he can't do it anymore, right? Well, it's this kind of the same thing here with Poison Ivy. I think that like the art behind it is pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what the second one looks like. I guess the fact that it's redacted, I don't know what that even means. Did the last one talk about the Court of Owls? I guess it must have. It's interesting because I love Court of Owls, and I feel like it's become like a popular thing to dislike, which I never like when that happens. I think it's always so ridiculous to dislike something just because other people like it a lot, or because you feel like it's overrated. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Right? Like you might feel like it's overrated because people love it and you think it's okay, but like I don't know. Either way, um, Absolute Batman number 18. So that's coming out this week. I forget, is this one's, yeah. So I'm not surprised that these are all this is $4.99. Um, I mean, these days it's tough to find a book that's staying at $3.99. But speaking of books staying at $3.99, maybe yes, Blood and Thunder. This is fantastic. I'm loving this book. The world building here. I mean, first of all, I don't know that anybody in comics does better world building than Robert Kirkman. I mean, you look at The Walking Dead, right? You look at Invincible and Void Rivals, right? And now has a hand in this Blood and Thunder. And again, I say this every time we talk about Blood and Thunder, but Benito Sereno, I don't know if he goes by Benito or Benny. It says Benito, but I think he goes by Benny Sereno. So Benny Sereno is writing the heck out of this book. I mean, we have been on several different planets at this point and had full like fleshed out stories on each one. I don't want this like you see the pull numbers are really low here. I mean, 1,600 people on League of Comic Geeks, and again, like, and I always stipulate, right, like or I always elaborate that the pull numbers on here don't reflect the full like performance of the book, but it's a good general gauge, I think, or at least to be able to compare, right? And like I'm not surprised that this isn't at like what was Absolute Batman at. My guess is Absolute Batman's at like 16,000. That's insane. That can't even be right. I didn't know that there were that many users on this site. 51,000 people pulling Absolute Batman. That's wild to me. And Batman's got 31. That's unbelievable. Because even like DCKO, right? Like the main event, it's at 19. It makes sense that it's less than Batman. Not everybody follows events, but the fact that Absolute Batman is at 1,000 people pulling it is absolutely crazy. I've never seen a number that big on this site. I'm willing to bet that there's not anything higher than that. But that being said, right, 51,000 for Absolute Batman to Blood and Thunder's 1,600. Obviously, again, I'm not expecting it to be in the same realm, but the fact that it's at 1,600, it is truthfully, like, to me, it's not a good sign for getting more of this book, which I definitely want more of this book. I mean, like, even look at like The Ordained, right? By Bad Idea has more pulls than Blood and Thunder. Blood and Thunder is an ongoing. It's Image, it's Skybound, and it's Robert Kirkman. And yet it seems like the pull numbers are extremely low. Now, that being said, I'm very excited for Ordained number 2. I thought that the first issue was really well done. And I feel like Venditti really did his research on like the Catholic background to make sure that it was essentially like believable and like you know, in line with kind of how a situation like this may go down. Um, but yeah, so if you haven't heard me talk about this before, it's basically this story is it's an ex-Marine Catholic priest that has heard the last confession or what was supposed to be the last confession of an Irish mob boss who then miraculously recovers after having told the priest this like terrible things that he's done and now puts a hit out on the priest and the priest has to defend himself. Um, issue 1 was great. There's also, and we'll kind of skip ahead a little bit here. There's also a sort of like side issue coming out, and final order cutoff for that's next week. But Ordained presents the Machine. Okay, so this is another Venditti book, and the Ordained, or sorry, the Machine is a like a killer for hire, right? That gets sent after the priest, and so it kind of gives backstory on him. So my guess, I don't think we've met him, the Machine, in issue number 1. My guess is we'll meet him in issue number 2, and then we'll get this like sort of side story, and then move on from there. Um, which I think is interesting. Um, I guess maybe I don't understand why they wouldn't just make it part of the series, but either way, um, I guess maybe if they felt like it wasn't absolutely necessary to read, then they kind of give people the option by making it a one shot. But so like so far, right? We have a book from Image, like we talked about my DC book or one of my DC books on here. We have a book from Image. We've got a book from Bad Idea, and here's IDW. All right, we've got Sonic the Hedgehog number 85 coming out, and I first of all, that's a great cover, right? And this isn't the first like reflection of Metal Sonic cover that we've had, but it's the first in a while, I think. And I always love when they do that with Eggman and make his like eyes glow and put that big smile there. It's just like super creepy. Um, but I'm interested to see kind of where this goes because we left off with Metal Sonic looking we've seen Metal Sonic now with his modifications, and I'm just curious as to who would have the technical prowess to both do that and to take down Metal Sonic to be able to do that, right? So we've got to be dealing with somebody that is both like tech savvy and extremely powerful, which is why I kind of don't think it's Starline. Um, and I also feel like it's a little like I don't want to say it's like early, right? But I mean, because it's been 35 issues since Starline was gone. Um, but it does feel like it would be a little soon to bring back Starline. I would hope that Ian Flynn has like a more of a slow burn for that. But I guess we'll see. Um, but I'm looking forward to this one. We can take a look at the preview briefly. Halaska. Tracking down Metal Sonic. Yeah, so okay. So that weird device on his face, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think that it was a device on his face. I thought that it was like implanted in him and that he was all like beat up, which is strange because yeah, so here in this cave somebody's messing with stuff. Hmm. Okay, and so we see the coffin, or a coffin similar to the one that's being used to carry the Chaos Emeralds at the moment, which is really interesting. I'm still a little confused by the thing on Metal Sonic because I'll have to go back and look and see. I doubt that it's going to be something we can see in the preview here. Yeah, I didn't think so. But the I swear that it had been something that he'd been implanted with. So honestly, like attaching something to his face, I guess they wouldn't need to be all that powerful, which then kind of reopens the Starline possibility. But I guess we'll see. I'm not sure. Space Ghost. I feel like I'm a little behind on this. Yeah, I didn't read number 8. I'm pretty sure I read 7 though. Yeah, I read 7. And then 8 was a continuation of that with the Antimatter Man. And so then here we have, oh, this is another blip issue. And I've been talking this one up because I've talked about it for Final Order Cutoff and I think 2 weeks in a row. And so the last blip issue, which was like early in volume 1, was awesome. It was one of the best issues of the series. And so a blip centric issue again is bound to be great as well. So and it says Blip must don the Creature King's telepathic helmet. So this will be cool. I'm excited about this one. The covers are always cool. I don't think Francesco Mattina is using AI on them, so that's good. But I'm enjoying Space Ghost, and again, like you see this on your the shelf at your local comic shop, you could pick it up, right? It doesn't like very like on occasion you get 2-parters, but honestly, even the 2-parters give enough information that you can enjoy part 2 without reading part 1. I really like what David Pepos is doing here, and the fact that we're on issue number 9 of the second volume, which would put us at what 21. If the first was 12 and this is at 9, that's pretty crazy to me because it seems like yesterday that I was hyping up issue number 1. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So like so far we've got Image, we've got Bad Idea, we've got IDW, we've got Dynamite, right? And then my last 2 here are DC and Image again, but still kind of the point stands, right? Supergirl number 11. So the reason I'm even picking this one up, right, is first of all, we've got Reign of the Superboys, which is interesting. It's gonna be essentially like a crossover type thing with Superman Unlimited, and so like Superman is gonna be focusing on Superboy Prime. Superman Unlimited is gonna be focusing on, I believe, young John Kent, right? And we've got his, I guess his like arch nemesis, that he didn't know about type of thing. But I guess Action Comics will be focusing more on Clark Kent as Superboy, which is a cool way to kind of look at it. But then Supergirl has Boy Thunder from World's Finest, which I'm extremely excited about. Especially because he ends up being Magog or Thunderman. I'm wondering how they're even going to work this in. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I'm only pulling this issue of Supergirl. If I really like where this is going, then I'll probably go and do 12 and 13 and so on. But for right now, I'm just looking for the Boy Thunder appearance here. And then we've got Transformers number 30. So I did find the last issue of this extremely interesting. Again, like I always say about Transformers, is that I always get confused about who's who. But this Elita 1, right? The quick version of the story is that she has been fighting this war on Cybertron while Optimus Prime kind of bops around Earth. And at first he was like, she like thought he was trying to get back, and then I'm pretty sure at one point he like forced like some portal closed so that he could stay on Earth and help them. So she is livid at Optimus Prime. Now, what's interesting is Optimus Prime is obviously a key person in this book, but then also coming up next is G.I. Joe, where Optimus Prime meets Duke. So I'm interested to see kind of how they handle that, if they're just going to like pretend that those two things can happen at once or what. But I am actually really looking forward to this Transformers issue because Elita 1 is like livid with Optimus Prime because he basically has abandoned her at this point and she's fighting this war. So I'm interested to see where that goes. So those are the ones that are coming up this week. Now, as far as final order cutoff, tonight we have final order cutoff for Batman Superman World's Finest. What's cool is that it's an oversized 50th issue, and it's still only $4.99. And it's the return of Dan Mora. And my understanding is that when we get to 51, he's not coming back for 51. Which is fine, right? Like I think it's okay that he moves on to a different book. But I'm really excited for this issue because it's probably going to be like a boatload of fan service. And I also, just to note, there is a Weird Al cover, which I will absolutely be getting. There's also another Weird Al cover. I don't know if I included it on oh yeah, there it is. This one I might even like even more because it's Bizarro Year None, right? Which is a play on the Year One thing. And instead of Weird Al Yankovic, it's Totally Normal Al Yankovic. And he's got his hair down. He's wearing a suit. I don't know. I can't tell what that says. Totally normal things. Yep. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, let me see. That final order cutoff for that one is also tonight. So I honestly I have no interest in, well, not no interest. I think Bizarro Year None sounds kind of interesting. Plus the fact that it's Kevin Smith writing it. He's not the most reliable from a release standpoint, but I'm definitely more interested in that cover than I am the book itself. So here we have, for final order cutoff tonight, is Sonic the Hedgehog number 86. And again, you can see Metal Sonic with it's that thing attached to his face. So honestly, this is almost making me think that it's not Starline related at all. But the I mean, again, I think this is interesting. So I mean, just looking at the The solicit here, with Sage captured by a corrupted Metal Sonic, the favorite daughter of Dr. Eggman is about to be deleted. The only way to survive, combine forces with her sister, Belle. As the two overcome their pain and fight to survive, they find themselves caught with Sonic under the whim of a mysteriously ghostly figure. Something interesting my kids pointed out is that they're playing up this whole Sage and Belle thing, them being quote unquote sisters because they're both Eggman creations. What they're pointing out is that if they're calling Sage and Belle sisters, that makes Orbot and Cubot their brothers, which I love. I love that a lot because I think it makes it a lot less dramatic. And then they started talking about how all of the Eggman creations are the brothers and sisters and all that stuff. But I do think it's funny that the idea of Orbot and Cubot being the brothers of Sage and Belle. Yeah, so excited for Sonic as always. The Fury of Firestorm. This final order cutoff is next week. But I think Jeff Lemire is great. I think that Rafael De La Torre is great. And the pitch on this, the community of Bedford, Colorado is a sleepy small town, again, which someone in the comments down below said, of the League of Comic Geeks said, like it's funny because Jeff Lemire is constantly talking about small towns, but he does it well. You know, if it's not broken, why fix it? The people say hello to their neighbors, attend small town hall meetings, and root for the local high school football team on Friday nights. But this idyllic small town is thrown upside down when the nuclear man arrives and starts experimenting. Firestorm has turned buildings to sand and people to glass with no remorse and no warning. But what exactly provoked Ronnie Raymond to commit this heinous act, and can anyone contain the fury that is Firestorm? So I didn't realize that they were like going to have him turn heel in this series, or at least like make it so that he's like it could be like a mind control thing or something like that. But either way, I think this has the potential to be extremely good. So I'm excited to be pulling that one. I don't think I'm going to be pulling. Yeah, I don't think I'm pulling any other next level books. I mean, I guess if I start to see ones that are like part of a major storyline involving DC or have some impact on the DC universe as a whole, then maybe I might do that, but I guess we'll see. Here we have more Space Ghost. And so we have Tempest the Time Master. And it looks like Council of Doom escaping during attempted prison break. So again, this looks like one that you could pick up without much trouble if you haven't read any before. But yeah, I mean, I like that. I'm like this is great. Yeah, and like the fact that this team's staying together, and yeah, they're doing a great job. I hope that this keeps going for indefinitely. I'd like to see David Pepos do 100 issues on Space Ghost. Space Ghost up there. Here's more Blood and Thunder. So, oh yeah, Space Ghost. That was also that final order cutoff is next Monday. So just you've got a week, but make sure you get your pre-orders, and that's how we support the books and make sure that more of them get made. I'm also really liking the solicits on these Blood and Thunder, right? Because you look back at issue number 10, Blood learns the truth about her family. It's very like to the point. All right. And so, friends, enemies, there may be no difference for blood as everyone's agendas are revealed, which is interesting. Oh, and this is an I Hate Fairyland team up. Oh, there's blood. I haven't read I Hate Fairyland, so I should probably check that out. That's interesting. That's an interesting take on Blood's hair, but I think it's cool. I like it. That's pretty cool. It's interesting to see those two fight alongside each other. I didn't really think we'd be seeing that based on like what was it, like the first issue, I think, where he's like this horrible monster. So here we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Saturday Morning Adventures. I'm a bit behind on this one. I feel like I should start pulling it again, but also my pull list is really full. But either way, I saw it pop up in my final order cutoff list, and final order cutoffs next week. So if you are interested in, and look at this, so like this is Shredder and Rocksteady are off on a mission of their own, leaving only Bebop to keep the ill alien company. Oh, Krang. Okay, I missed the top part. Krang, the great warlord of Dimension X, has a nasty cold and he's miserable. So Bebop tells him a bedtime story, a fairy tale filled with heroes and villains, queens and creatures. Oh, and then the Princess Bride reference. Have a fun time storming the castle in the latest issue of TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures. That's pretty interesting. If I see that, I might grab it. I don't know if I'll pull it or not, but and we talked about the machine already, and Nightwing 137. So I was talking to another user on League of Comic Geeks about kind of where Nightwing's going from here, and I mentioned that I really hope that the destruction that we saw as a result of the Zanny final fight with Nightwing, where like Dan Waters very specifically mentioned like it's the worst damage since Cataclysm, which like I don't feel like is an accidental reference or like a throwaway, and that's what who was it? Magister Praeceptorum. But that's what he had mentioned to me as well, is that it's not likely a throwaway line because Dan Waters knows his Bat family, right? And that makes sense to me, and I agree with that. The other thing here is like this sniper here, right? This is like we're hoping it's just like a lone gunman type thing, right? Not a like it's a villain that's back or like whatever. Like make it someone that is reacting poorly to the destruction around them, and make the destruction that happened to Bloodhaven make it matter. And so yeah, I mean, this was the kind of the variant that Magister P was referencing in his post, talking about picking this apart to see what the clues here are. I mean, there's a like the theater mask. There's it looks like Barbara there. I don't know who this is supposed to be, so I mean, we'll see. I think it'll be good. I love the covers too. The Fornes does this cover. Did he do the last cover, the other cover too? Let's take a look, because I love this cover. The one before it is like just as good. Yeah, Fornes does this cover as well. So I'm excited for these. I think that these will be really, really good. One other one that I didn't have on my list that I want to talk about, and I'll search for it, as I talked about a while back, is Ted. Okay. So, like, let's look at the first issue. Okay. So, this is a story about Ted and Sarah. Ted, isolated and paranoid, works for a mega corporation owned by the world's only trillionaire. He suffers from night terrors, obsessively draws the same mysterious figures again and again, all while listening to one track of music on repeat. Oh, and the only person he ever talks to is a stray cat. His humanity is hanging by a thread. Sarah is a new arrival to the city fighting her own demons, and her job is to remotely spy on Ted to ensure he doesn't hurt anyone or himself. When Ted's mental state begins to crack, Sarah compassionately intervenes to help, and things go catastrophically wrong. So, this seems wild. And it's written and drawn by Dave Chisholm. And let me get something for you here. My friend from the League of Comic Geeks, Joe from Joe Talks Comics, interviewed Dave, and it was a great interview. So I want to make sure here, copy link to episode. I'm going to drop the link in here. I don't know if these stay when I post, but I'll put the link there for anyone and flash it up on the screen, right? And then on top of that, what I'll do is I don't know if I can share. Actually, yeah, I don't think I can share my Spotify app, but basically check out Joe's episode of this. Like, Joe's a great interviewer, and all his interviews like feel a lot like conversations in like the best way. And Dave is brilliant, right? Like it's a great interview. Definitely check it out. The book looks super interesting. I need to catch up. This came out on February 25th. And so I believe that, yeah, we missed final order cutoff for issue 2, but that's coming out March 25th. So I'm pretty sure you can still pre-order. I'm pretty sure you can still pre-order this on Mad Cave's website, even though it's past final order cutoff. Especially if you do like the what's it called, the digital to trade subscription, right, where each month you get the digital issues sent to your inbox, and then after all the digital issues come out, they send you a physical trade paperback of the book. Yeah, so like this is, and so if we did miss final order cutoff, for issue 2. So issue 3 may need to be what's next, right? So issue 3 final order cutoff is April 6th. So that's where you can pick up. But I need to find this and read a copy of issue number 1. I may have a review copy, and I'll have to do a quick review of it as well. So keep an eye out for that. But check out Joe's episode. It's Joe Talks Comics, and it's a great episode. So, and he's got a ton of other stuff too, a ton of other people that he talks to. So definitely check that out. I don't think that I have anything else. So that's it for me. Thank you everyone for watching, and make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell so that it like alerts you whenever I'm streaming next. Although it's always Mondays at 9:30, right? So you can keep that on your schedule. But thanks to everyone who watched, and have a great evening.